get into, there's one player we didn't talk about.
And I suppose that might be fair that we didn't talk about him because it hasn't been officially announced yet.
Yeah.
But we're one of the final pieces that we talked about for the last month that we needed was a right back. And David Sterling, why don't you introduce us to, hopefully, like I said, it's not official, but it sounds like it's just about there.
And as much as I took French, Romain Metanire, I think, is how you pronounce it.
Romaine Lettuce?
He is, well, that would probably, he is from Stade Reims. They were promoted this year to League One. I mean, they've been in League One before. So France. He started regularly in their promotion season. So he essentially helped them get promoted. I think I said in a text message that.
And that's the interesting thing about this guy is he helps them get promoted, and then they decide because they're getting extra money now,
right?
Because promoted, they decide that he's not part of their plan future-wise,
right?
So he's helping them get to a higher spot.
Yep.
They say, "Don't need you anymore." And United potentially are going to sue.
Yeah, and I don't think it's not like he was riding the bench this whole year. He's played in a number of games, not all of them. I think it was about a half of them that I saw.
You know, he's honestly, he got to play against PSG, which, you know, if you look at his stat or if you look at the team stats while he's been on the field, it's unfortunate because they played PSG, who, if people don't understand that, it's Paris Saint-Germain. And one of the best teams.
One of the best teams in France,
In Europe.
And so it's like, they see, Reims lost 4-1. They allowed 4 goals. Well, it's PSG. I mean,
it's high up there.
You know. And so I actually sat down and watched the highlights of that game just to see, you know, what happened. He may have been at fault for one of those goals.
Okay.
But the other 3, no, absolutely not. So that's a positive. The other thing is there was another game that Reims lost 4-2, I think it was. He actually got a red card before the first goal even.
What?
So none of those goals were against him.
Wow.
So I think overall, from what I've seen of him, in the highlights that I went back on Google and watched on YouTube, you know, I think he looks pretty good. He's quick. He has decent marking. Honestly, aside from those 2 games, they played very well with him in the lineup.
So if we sign him, we have filled right back position.
Yes.
And 2 midfielders, defensive and attacking.
And really what we needed.
Yeah. What we needed.
Yep.
So like I said, in our first half of this podcast, in 2 weeks, we've gone from what the fuck are you doing?
Yes.
To, oh shit.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, and we touched on it earlier, but I had a feeling they had to. They had no choice to sign a few players to fill the holes that they had. But I honestly didn't think they were going to make as big of a splash as they did. I mean, to the common fan, maybe these names don't jump out at you as, they signed so and so and so and so. But really looking into Romain and Jan Gregus' career, I mean, it's fair. They look like fairly substantial signings
for this team. They are substantial signings for this team.
Yeah, and
right now
it gives me optimism. It really does.
Yeah, you know, I think they went into the offseason a little sketchy. Mm-hmm. They spent 75% of the offseason kind of making us think what, as Tony said. You know, they still need a lot of depth. But overall, yeah, I think they've started to address the issues.
They did.
I'm going to withhold being excited. But,
and let's go to the whole Manny Lagos thing, okay? So if these things work out the way that we hope they work out, then Manny's a genius, okay? Manny knows what he's doing. Manny has been like hanging in the weeds for a while.
Sure.
I know. Sterling, David, I know you're getting a little choked up a little bit. But if these three guys work out, we have to say that Manny knew what he was doing. We have to. We have to.
Yeah.
If two of these guys work out and one doesn't,
We still have.
Yeah.
we still have.
I mean, I think it'll be interesting, and we'll talk about it. The outlook of the season and how has it changed in the last month. Now, I don't think any of us are sitting here and saying MLS Cup champions 2019. But are we now saying playoffs?
I am.
Are we saying playoffs now? Where even
Playoffs!
I know myself a month ago, I certainly was not thinking playoffs, and that's why I was famously on the 7-year plan, is because I just didn't see it. But just in 1 month and 4 weeks. I've seen enough change to maybe. I'm not going to guarantee anything right now.
They made. I mean, if this move goes through, they made.
Is it
three
enough?
Big moves.
Three
big moves.
Do we have enough to earn another 10 or 15 more points than we had last year? That's the question.
Well, I'll say that in terms of our offense,
Yeah.
I honestly think we're one of the top 6 best.
Oh yeah, I would
Offensive
agree with
league.
that. I would agree with that. I would totally agree with that.
We've got Ethan Finley and Kevin Molino coming back.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Miguel Ibarra, who is, in my opinion, better than both of them,
Yeah.
who will probably be on the bench.
And
We have Romario Ibarra, who might be better than
good guy. Good
our
guy.
forward.
Yeah, good guy.
And then we have Angelo Rodriguez, who is phenomenal at hold-up play.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep
And
going.
then we have
Who is it? Who is it?
Darwin Quintero,
Yes. There he is.
who, quite honestly, I think was the better
And
between him and Carlos Vela,
Yeah.
who Carlos Vela ended up getting all the praise.
Yeah.
now, so
I think he's better.
Now, Tony, you mentioned attacking midfielder, and like who would you describe as an attacking midfielder on the United? I mean, in that traditional 10 spot, because wouldn't you put
We don't have a 10 spot.
Okay, wouldn't you put Angelo Rodriguez in the 9, right?
Yeah.
He'd be your big forward in the 9 spot. So 10 could Darwin be your 10?
He could be.
I mean,
Or he
he's
just isn't.
basically played that for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then that's why I brought this up, and we touched on it earlier. Because I wanted to ask you, David. So, Ozzy Alonso, who's going to be now, say, a defensive midfielder, the number 6. What would you call a number 8? Not a number, but a name for that position. Is there a name?
I mean,
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, because you wouldn't necessarily call him an attacking midfielder.
I'd call him
he's,
guy.
Beyond Gregus now.
I guess if I were to call an
Like
8 something, I would say it's box to box.
Box to box, kind of like a holding, or is it, no? The holding would be your 6.
Holding's usually a 6.
Okay, but
Yeah, so it's difficult because generally a box to box is, in my opinion, is more a 4-4-2
Yeah.
formation.
Yeah.
So when you get this 4-2-3-1 formation,
Yeah.
that box to box kind of disappears.
and that's a good question. Do you? I mean, we know what Heath likes, but do you have an opinion, David, of what formation they're going to come out with in game number 1?
It'll be a 4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1.
I think I see Gregus as more of an attacking guy.
It's gonna be. I mean, if I were to pick it,
Sure, that's
it
what
would
I'm
be,
asking
It would
you,
be
yeah.
Kelvo, Kelman, Boxel, and Metanire,
Assuming we
Yeah,
sign.
yeah.
and then it would be Alonso,
Yeah.
and then Gregus just ahead of him,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then it would be Romario, Darwin.
And
I mean, I would prefer Miguel. It'll probably be Molino or Finley,
yeah.
and then Rodriguez.
And that's I guess there's still time. It's interesting, Corey mentioned on this podcast, maybe it's possible Miguel Ibarra won't be on this team, which is hard to imagine for most fans coming into this new year, but
At this
Yeah.
point, I don't think at this point they're going to do that.
maybe it could be a mid-season move if there is a move, who knows.
If it happens, it's going to happen with us signing Rossi. It's going to be just a complete clusterfuck.
Yeah, it is.
Where we're going to end up getting rid of Miguel and signing a woman beater.
Yeah.
I think he'll stick around.
And you have to realize that Molino's coming back from an injury.
Yep.
So they're not going to. I don't think right now the fact they haven't traded Barra says to me they don't trust Molino's injury yet.
Yeah, I think summer window will be more interesting because there's too much money sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's Miguel on the bench, there's too much money. So the summer window, I think all three of them are going to hang around until summer, and somebody's going to be home.
But we have to see what Molino does past after his injury.
Right.
And the United are being smart right now. Not getting rid of Ibarra,
Right.
keeping him around because they don't know what's going to happen with Molino.
Exactly.
Let's get into the schedule, guys, because the schedule is very interesting. We do not open up here at Allianz Field until April 13th.
At 4 p.m. Central Time, ESPN 2.
So, thank you, Dave.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So we have 5 weeks. 5 weeks. We're on the road to start the season.
Yeah, and I did want to bring this up too, and I'm not going to beat the weather in the ground because we mentioned that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And but one other reason that we didn't bring up was the fact that the college basketball's Final Four tournament is going to be here in Minneapolis.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Between it's basically the semifinal games would be on the 6th of April, and the final would be on the 8th of April.
That's right. That's right.
But there's a whole, it's kind of like it's not as big as the Super Bowl, but there's a whole week leading up to that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so there's a lot of people that are going to be coming into town because of that. So that is one of the reasons why there's the 5 games that are on the road.
Well, I think that and the fact that it's going to be very cold.
Yeah, that's most certainly a reason, especially early on in March. But I'm
going to go out on a limb and say we're going to get snow on the first day.
Yeah.
Like the home opener.
Really? It's April 13th, though.
Yeah, but it's in. We were recording this podcast in Minnesota.
It is possible. It is possible.
And before we get and I guess the only bright side to that is, you have to start with your first 5 games on the road, but after that, after the home opener, 9 of the next 12 are at home.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's a weird thing about MLS, and I've seen this now, and this is the second year I've seen it, is that they tend to get, like, Minnesota, Chicago, teams that are in northern states, all their home games are in the summertime.
Yeah.
And they play all their away games either spring or fall.
Yeah, we always find a way to bring up baseball on this podcast, but I mean, you got to admit they kind of do the same thing with the Twins. It's rare.
Yeah.
It's not. It happens, but it's rare. You look over the last 9 years that the Twins have been playing outside.
Yeah.
And I would say 7 of those years they've started on the road for a week or a week and a half.
Yep, that's right.
Typically.
That's right.
It's common sense, really.
Well, it's common sense to do it, but 5 games away from Allianz Field before we can start, that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be tough. So when we're in the break, I asked all 3 of us to figure out how many points we're going to have when we come to Allianz Field for that 6th week. Because we have 5 games. We have
and I can run them off. So the season opener for the Loons is Saturday the 2nd of March at Vancouver.
Yep.
That's followed the next week at San Jose.
Yep.
Next week at LA Galaxy. There's I think a week off, and then they're at the Revolution on the 30th, and then they're at the New York Red Bulls on the 6th of April.
So the nice thing about this is though, so the first 3 games are on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Right.
And the next 2 games are on the East Coast. So they're not going back and forth here.
That's true.
They're going to come back home, but they're not like going back and forth.
Yeah, but
which is nice.
Yeah, unfortunately for the United, living in Minnesota, it's easier to get to, say, the West Coast as compared to a New York team. But there's still a lot of miles to be traveled, especially if you're going back and forth every week, which I assume they'll do.
There are.
Yeah.
So 5 games all the way.
Yep.
I'll start first, guys.
Okay.
I think they come into the home opener at Allianz Field on April 13th with 2 points.
Wow, that's low. That is low.
Okay.
And